Thank you, and thank you, Chairman Emeritus, for your questions, particularly regard to the Palestinian Authority and democracy in Cuba. I want to associate myself with your concerns. NGOs just are there to try to provide relief or development. Our USAID focuses also on our foreign policy objectives. Minister Shah, how do you coordinate with the State Department to get to have our foreign policy and national security objectives affect what you do?
Well, thank you, Representative Sherman. I guess I'll offer a general point and a specific one. In terms of coordination, I think under the Obama administration, under Secretary Clinton, and now under Secretary Kerry, it has been both very transparent and much improved. We develop country assistance strategies for each country. They're carefully vetted through USAID and State. We jointly approach the priorities and define them in a specific way, and then measure results and make those outcomes as public and transparent as possible. We have implemented a foreign assistance dashboard that has excellent data from USAID, from State, and from MCC that meets our International Aid Transparency Initiative commitments, and I believe that has been very strong coordination. One important example of that, I think, that speaks to your opening comment is Syria. We have worked hand in glove to make sure that we provide now nearly $400 million of humanitarian support inside of Syria. 65% of that reaches opposition-controlled areas. We're reaching 2.4 million people with critical services and doing that in very close coordination.
Administrator, I'm going to have to go on to a few other things and ask you to supplement your answer for the record, although the fact that the flag is not on the bag in Syria is of great concern to me. I'd like you to for the record, describe what regulations or policies you have for your people in the field that as to when they must emphasize that the aid is coming from the United States, literally put a big flag on the bag of food, et cetera, and when they're allowed to depart from those policies. I'd also like you to provide for the record some case studies or examples to illustrate what is the difference in cost between local sourcing on the one hand and U.S. sourcing, U.S. flag carrier delivery on the other. I'm sure that there'll be a wide variation in the differences in cost depending upon where the aid's going. As to Pakistan, we provide $2.8 billion in non-military assistance since 2009. The Islamabad government has its own objectives, but we need to win over all the people of Pakistan, and I focused my attention on the Sindh province. To what degree does Islamabad determine where our aid is focused within Pakistan? And then in writing, maybe you could provide a description of what we're doing in the Sindh province. But who picks the projects and the locations, you or the Pakistani government?
Great. Thank you. Let me just say, with respect to Pakistan first, and Sindh in particular, we have very important partnerships. We design them together. We absolutely retain the capacity and authority to both select projects and oversee their implementation. One example is we made a commitment to help them produce 1,200 megawatts of energy. We've already seen through and successfully produced 800 megawatts, and that's been seen as a tremendous success. Second, we've invested quite a lot of effort in a comprehensive branding strategy for anywhere in the world. Pakistan, I think, is a good example where, as a result of our efforts, we are now we have data that shows that the awareness of American assistance efforts in Pakistan has gone up threefold. There have been more than 4,000 locally placed.
I'm going to try to sneak in one more question, but please give us that analysis of what's going on in Sindh. I'm somewhat concerned that the administration request cuts aid to Armenia. I think you ought to increase that instead. And if you're looking for a source of funds, you could look at U.S. aid of all types to Azerbaijan, which is thwarting our development efforts for the area by threatening to shoot down civilian aircraft that go into Stepanagart's new airport. I've talked to Mr. Yohannes about the Javakheti region of Georgia. We provide very substantial aid to Georgia, and I hope, as I've discussed with him, and now I have a chance to discuss with you, that a significant part of our aid would go to that otherwise neglected region. And I'll ask, if I've got a chance, Mr. Yohannes, to describe what is the status of our second compact with Georgia, and will Javakheti be a strong focus if that compact is concluded?
The investment proposal is proceeding extremely well and should be presented to the board sometime in June of this year. And Mr. Congressman, please know that there's some funding that's set aside for Armenian language and also for a number of schools in that region.
Thank you very much.